Alright, I'm making this video because I said I was going to make this video, and this video is deep. Um, Shout out to my boy Dwayne for reminding me of this story that I was going to make on this. So, this story is, long story short, you've seen the title, is how I manifested myself out of jail. So, I ended up in jail. I ended up going to pay bail for at one precinct, and I ended up having a warrant in another jurisdiction, so I ended up going to jail. I don't mind telling you what I went to jail for. I had a phone altercation, not even a physical altercation, but a phone altercation with a male. I'll say it like that. A male that is not family to me or anybody else. But anyway, it was an altercation, and it was over my daughter, so you can tell how. But anyway, that's how I ended up having this warrant, because that said person went and told and blah 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 blah, saying I was threatening him. It's a him. Anyway, so ended up in jail for a couple of days. Now this is how I manifested myself out of it. Went to jail, I think it was on a Sunday, went to go see the judge on Monday. They made me look like I did something crazy, even when I didn't. It was all through phone. But anyway, I digress. And they told me I had to go back and see the judge on Thursday. So when that happened, I was super depressed, super mad. I don't go to jail. I don't get locked up. That's not my thing. Anyway, so I'm locked up, mad as hell, depressed and all that. But then I remember my teachings from Neville Goddard on the law of assumption and how you can, visualize yourself out of whatever predicament you're in by going there inside your mind, inside your soul, and feeling it. So, of course, I don't eat a lot, so I ain't eating nothing really in jail like that. Drink what I drink, but most of the time I slept. So when I slept, I would wrap the towel around my head, and I would just go to sleep. And I kept visualizing myself over and over again. Now, mind you, I went to another precinct to pay this bail for traffic stuff, and ended up having this warrant that I didn't know about from the situation with this guy. Anyway, so my truck is parked at the precinct, and they said they would keep it there for a couple of days, and my aunt checked on it. They said they could keep it there for like a week or something, whatever. So I'm trying to get out to get my truck. I don't want my truck to be impounded, like, of course. So this is what I kept visualizing. I would lay down on the bunk, towel wrapped around my eyes, and I would just visualize myself in an Uber pulling up to the precinct, looking at my truck. And then me getting out the Uber, hopping in my truck, taking the key, turning the truck on, and driving out of the parking lot of the precinct. I visualized this over and over again. And when my mind would wane and start thinking about me being in jail and how horrible it was, and this is terrible, because, jail is terrible. I don't care if you're in there for a day or, 20 years, 50 years, whatever. That shit is horrible. So anyway, so I would bring myself back. No, I'm in the Uber. I'm visualizing the whole thing. I'm in the Uber, behind the passenger seat, in the back seat, behind the passenger seat, looking at my car. It was not fully dark, but it was dusk. I don't know why, but I just visualized it at that time of the day. Pulling up to my car, hopping out, going into my truck, opening my truck, boop boop, getting in the truck, turn, key, driving off. I kept doing that over, 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 over again for another, 2 days, 3 days really, till Thursday. And I kept going back to that. I would talk to the dude that was in the cell with me. I would talk to him a little bit and all that. In between that, you know how you do jail and whatever. And but minus that, when I went to bed, when I went to sleep, I kept visualizing. I was like, no, no, and that's all I had. It's all I had. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what was going to happen, so I just gave into it. And I went to court, and when I went to court, on the camera or whatever, the prosecutor was killing me, talking about all this old stuff I did, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, they ain't never gonna let me go. Like, this guy is making me look like I'm, out of control. So then, my public defender started talking. I was like, oh, this stuff was over 10 years ago. He's been a model citizen, never had any violent crimes, never this, never that, blah, blah, blah. So the judge talked back to the prosecutor. Prosecutor's, he don't know. You got a lot going on. He's like, let him go. So they let me go. So now I'm being let go, and I'm going through the process of that. And that's a long process. You got to go back to your cell. Then you got to wait for them to call you. Then you got to go down to another cell. You got to wait for transport. Transport was late, and this is all going on. Blah blah blah. And seen a young kid in there, and there was a guy older than me, and a kid younger than me, real young. They was like 18, 19. And me and the older guy are talking to the kid like, hey man, stop doing this, get a job. There's so many things you can do. You're young, you just gotta believe in yourself, on the transport to the other, because we had to go to another county to get let go. And finally they bring our stuff out, and we finally get let go and get out of there. And I get to the street, I call my dad first, call a couple of people, just let them know I'm good. And then I called the Uber. And I waited on the Uber, and the Uber came, picked me up finally. And we drove. We had to drive for a while. And just like I visualized, I'm not playing, guys, just like I visualized, I'm pulling around the corner, and we're in the parking lot of the precinct now. It's a big parking lot. We're pulling around the corner, and I'm in the back seat, behind the passenger seat of the Uber, and we're pulling around, and I see my truck right there in the parking space, just like I visualized. And we pull up, and I get out the Uber, I open up the car, just like I visualized, I hop in, put my seatbelt on, crank it, reverse, turn the radio on, and I'm going my way home. And I visualized this thing, I can't tell you, at least hundreds of times, over and over. That's all I would see while I was locked up, while I was in the cell. I just kept visualizing myself pulling up in that Uber, looking at my truck while I pull up, getting inside of it, and driving off. And that's what happened. And it's not the first time I've done these things when you're going through something, Been plenty of times where, I was in cuffs for some traffic stuff, and I would just kept saying, God is my supply, God is my supply, God is my supply, God is over and over and over, and I ended up getting out of it and being let go a couple of hours later, or, you know what I'm saying, that same night. Anytime you in cuffs and you get let go, within whatever time, a little short period of time, it's a good time, it's a good day. So anyway, so it's just, it's a power that seems far-fetched, but it's something that we've all done, whether we think we've done it or not. There's been plenty of times you thought about somebody and they end up calling you, or, you think about somebody, you think about an ex or something, and you end up, hooking back up with them, or you think about, whatever, So it's just a situation where, you can tap into it if you really believe. You gotta have faith though. I wasn't playing. I'm telling you, I wrap the towel around my eyes. I don't want to see nothing. I'm going to another place. I'm going in the Uber to my car. That's where I'm at. I'm not in the cell. I'm not in jail. I'm not feeling pain from sitting on this. I'm ignoring the pain that I'm feeling from laying on this nasty ass mat, and you know what I mean. The environment, I'm not there. I'm in the Uber, going to my truck, hopping into my big F-150, all black, 8-foot bed, big boy McCoy, and I'm driving off, and I'm going home, and I'm going to eat some good food and talk to my girl. because God is great. And that's exactly what happened. So you take that and you do with that as you wish. And I'm not just saying to get yourself out of trouble. I'm saying do that with everything. It's all about the consistency, because once you go there, you're there. And the universe responds to that. Everything starts within. Everything that, this phone, the hat, the sweat, all this started in somebody's mind first. This battery, charger, it all started in somebody's mind. Everything. The chair I'm sitting at the house, everything. So, you could just exasperate that any way you want. Use that story, and that's a true story, and it is what it is. That's where I was. That's where I went. I was in that Uber car, going to my truck to go home. And that's exactly what happened. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I am grateful. So, just wanted to share that story with y'all, and you know what I mean? God bless.